What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 6 Team Builder to take on PokeFan and the Detroit Oblivion Wings. His team consists of Darkrai, Rotom-Heat, Alomomola, Uxie, Aromatisse, Tangela, Mega Beedrill, Celesteela, Zygarde 50%, Hitmonchan, and Regigigas. He has priority in the Zygarde with Extreme Speed and Hitmonchan with Mach Punch and Bullet Punch. Hazard setting, he's got the Uxie with Rocks, Mega Beedrill with Toxic Spikes, and that's it. Removal options, he's got Rotom with Defog, Mega Beedrill with Defog, and Hitmonchan with Rapid Spin. He's been relying on Hitmonchan a lot more for that role, especially in matchups against less bulky teams. I just not entirely sure that Hitmonchan is going to come to this one, but we'll sort of see. 4 times weaknesses, just the Zygarde to Ice. In terms of what I don't think he's going to bring, I don't think Tangela is coming. I think Tangela is just a gigantic waste of space. Normally it's really good against like physical offense, but all of my physical offense just pivots on it. Like actually just Zarude, Scissor, and Infernape, they all just U-turn on it for absolutely free. Infernape roasts the shit out of it. Scissor has Stab U-turn that just roasts the shit out of it, and Zarude also could potentially just roast the shit out of it or like set up on it, because Tangela can't really do anything to Zarude. If I was like a subset, it can't touch me at all. Can't like break a sub, it can't get a toxic off, you know, it can't sleep powder or anything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much why I don't think Tangela is coming. And then Regigigas is just not good. It's not a good Pokemon, and it's not a good check to anything on my team at all. So I just don't see it coming. Hitmonchan I'm kind of on the fence about. Aromatisse I'm also kind of on the fence about. I don't really think that Aromatisse is worth bringing against my team. Depends on how fat he wants to go in this one. Personally, I don't think it's in his best interest to go fat, but I have also built the team, so that could just be me. But yeah, Hitmonchan, another one of those sort of like iffy sort of things. It does like offensively beat a lot of stuff, but it's also outsped by a lot of stuff, and it's generally more of a Spedefmon. And it loses to almost all of my special offense, and definitely loses to all my physical offense. So again, it's sort of in the weird zone there. If I had to pick 6, I would say Darkrai, Mega Beedrill, Celesteela, Zygarde, Rotom-Heat, and then one of Uxie or Alomomola. That's what I would imagine is going to come as his 6. Probably less so Uxie and more so Alomomola, because Uxie, like Tangela, gets picked on by all of my physical offense, so I think that he would probably opt into Aloe. He messaged me today saying he's terrified of Pulp, so let's start with Pulp on my side then. I'm just running a Colberberry Infiltrator set with U-Turn, Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, and Shadow Ball. I'm trying to hit stuff as hard as possible on the special side without giving up any health, so I'm running Colbur, mainly for knockoff Beedrill, to be honest. Kind of just trying to like bait knockoff Beedrill to hit me, and because it's faster than me, and then pop the Colbur and I can kill the bee. Because I think Beedrill is like the biggest problem for my team. Quite honestly, it's easily the biggest problem for my team. Darkrai 2nd, Beedrill 3rd, Zygarde 4th, Rotom 5th. Is that? No, I messed up. Beedrill, Darkrai, Zygarde, Rotom, Celesteela, and then whatever else in that order. Yeah, so I'm able to run Modest this game, which is kind of fun. I'm tying Timid Darkrai. I don't really see a reason for him to run Max Speed Darkrai, so I just figured I would tie Timid just in case, which lets me be Modest. So I'm not sure if he's going to run Timid Darkrai or not, or try and abuse that. If he's Scarf Darkrai, it really won't matter anyways. I'm probably not going to live a Darkrai hit even through the Colbur, but I do have U-turn to hit the Darkrai. Shadow Ball should be able to bop a bunch of other stuff later on, and Thunderbolt is mainly just there for the Celesteela, but it's a nice way to break the Alomomola if I really have to break that as well. I kind of just didn't need another move because Draco Meteor should handle quite a lot of the team, and I should just be able to pivot on the Aromatisse fairly easily. Yeah, so I don't really, like, the 4 EVs don't really do anything anywhere else, but since I'm Modest anyways, it does boost U-turn damage slightly. Like, the difference between 4 and not 4 is obviously just 1 point, but that makes a big difference in the U-turn damage against Darkrai. Next up is Rotom. I need to take a drink, I'm sorry. Rotom, Speedy Rotom to tie his Rotom. And I'm just max HP. I'm not going to take hits that well, but at least I'll be able to get, like, damage off or click moves myself by having max HP and not being, like, purely offensive. I've got Toxic there because a lot of stuff on this team doesn't really appreciate Toxic. This is generally a Celesteela check. I can Volt on it, I can Discharge on it, whatever. Discharge is going to be helpful for paralyzing things like Beedrill if I really have to do that, or really have to paralyze like Darkrai. I would almost want to Toxic it, but going for the Discharge pair is maybe worth it. Discharge is also enough damage against the Alomomola, so I kind of figured it was maybe worth paralyzing that as well. That would be better than burning it at the very least. And then Hydro Pump is pretty much only there to hit the opposing Rotom and Zygarde. There's really no other reason for me to ever want to click Hydro Pump this game, so I probably won't. Zarude! I'm running a Choice Scarf Zarude with Power Whip, U-Turn, Darkest Lariat, and Close Combat. Close Combat and U-Turn will be able to deal with the Darkrai. This is a Dark Pulse resist. I don't think that I'm really going to end up in a position like that, because he can easily just click Sludge Bomb. Luckily, I will live a Sludge Bomb, or Ice Beam, whatever, with Zarude. Probably Sludge Bomb over Ice Beam. No, probably Ice Beam over Sludge Bomb, actually. Because my Fairy is half Psychic, so he can really just spam Dark Pulse pretty much as he wants for the most part. Outrunning... What am I outrunning? Zygarde at +1 creeping Rotom. So I'm going a little bit aggressive with this. I'm anticipating Zygarde to creep my Rotom-Wash, running max speed for his Rotom Heat. And so I'm creeping the Zygarde, creeping that, and I'll outspeed it after 1 Dragon Dance. Power Up's going to do a lot because I can run Adamant. So Zarude's actually pretty solid in this matchup. Unfortunately, it doesn't get knockoff. This is one of the matchups where I'd really... Like, some matchups you don't care about knock, but this is definitely one of them where I would want knock over Lariat. Lariat will help a little bit if the Celesteela is like physically defensive boosting, beast boosting, then I can break through the defense boost with Darkest Lariat and be able to hit it that way. Besides that, there's not much going for Zarude. I'm either going to U-turn or Power Whip most of this game, I would imagine. But Lariat is definitely helpful against the Beedrill as well. Mega Gardevoir. I'm running the usual bulky-ish Gardevoir. Trace. I wanted to maneuver something where I could Trace Beast Boost from Celesteela, kill it in regular form with Thunderbolt, and then be a +1 speed Mega Gardevoir, which would absolutely tear this team apart. There's no possible way for me to do that. Unfortunately, with the way that Gardevoir's stats work, I would have to be like a minus special attack nature or something to be able to get that to work. And then if I'm a minus special attack nature, I'm not really demolishing this team very well. So yeah, not going with that. But I am just running 3 attacks, Healing Wish. I didn't really need a 4th. Hyper Voice hits everything that's not named Celesteela, or Beedrill or Rotom. Psychic will hit the Beedrill and the Rotom. Thunderbolt will help the Celesteela. I'm not making the Mystical Fire mistake like I did last time. I don't see a real reason for him to be special over physical, unless he's really scared of like Will-O-Wisp spam on my team, so that's something to keep in mind. Or he's maybe scared of Intimidate Luxray, because in that case Mystical Fire would be better, but I also want to change it up a little bit because I want to be able to scout and see if he's Akka or Wakan or something like that. Celesteela, like a Tautomized Celesteela, could be really problematic here, by the way. But there's really no way around that. If I haven't mentioned it yet, this matchup's like actually like really terrible. I looked at this matchup initially and I was like, okay, there's a good Dragapult set that I can work around, which was not the one that I have now. And then I looked a little bit closer, and just the more I looked at this matchup, the more I hated it. And he said earlier in the week that he had like a good plan. So basically my plan to counter his plan is to be hyper offensive. That's actually all there is to it in this one. Is when you run into a bad matchup, you just run HO, and that's what I'm running. To an extent, you know, the Rotom and the Gardevoir are relatively bulky-ish. Like, they should be able to take a hit from one thing or another, right? Like, Gardevoir should be able to tank a hit from Rotom no matter what, or Rotom should be able to tank a hit from, like, Celesteela, Beedrill, Darkrai, Zygarde, no matter what, at least once. The Healing Wish support is because I'm HO. If I really need to heal up like Scarf Zarude for a late game scenario or something like that, I have that option. I'm outspeeding the Zygarde. I'm not speed creeping anything. I'm not getting fancy with it. I'm just outspeeding neutral speed Zygarde so that I can revenge that if need be. In Fernape, I'm running Lumberry, SD, Flame Charge, Thunder Punch, Close Combat. If this gets into a scenario where things are chipped, i.e. the Alomomola, i.e. the Rotom Heat, into a position where I don't have to close combat it, and the Hitmonchan's not there, then I might be able to win the game with this. It depends on if the Zygarde's going to lock itself into Extreme Speed or not. Lumberry is so that I dodge a Toxic. Jay actually built this set for me, but Lumberry means that I won't. I have one turn outside of Toxic. Flame Charge SD is actually pretty potent in this game. It's the same sort of idea as what I wanted to do with Gardevoir, except it's a little bit stronger because I'm going to get an SD up with the Infernape. Iron Fist boosts the Thunder Punch into a position where it should be able to deal with Alomomola and Celesteela, respectively. Thunder Punch is definitely going to be stronger than the Flame Charge at +2 because of A, the Iron Fist boost, and B, stronger base power. So both of them are about equivalent, actually. Flame Charge would be the equivalent of a base 75 power move because of Infernape's stat boost by 1.5. And Thunder Punch, so they would be equivalent, but then Thunder Punch is boosted by Iron Fist, so Thunder Punch is the better click against Celesteela. Close Combat hits a lot of other stuff. I don't really know what else to say besides that. Aromatisse could be a little bit annoying if I take the Close Combat boost, because then I shouldn't be able to live a Moonblast, but I should be able to live a Moonblast without a Close Combat boost. It's also potentially a setup target for me. I could SD on it, and then if it's low enough, I can Flame Charge it. Something to think about there. That's the idea behind Infernape. I'm running the same speed on Infernape as I am on Zarude, so I will be outspeeding Zygarde at +1, or just Zygarde naturally speed creeping Rotom neutrally if I have to just close combat in the face. Last but not least is the Scizor. I'm just running Banded Scizor. I didn't really see a better option here, and it's a nice revenger for the Darkrai, Mega Beedrill, and Zygarde. If I'm really in a position where I have to revenge them, then at least I have that option, you know? I considered a few other things. The mons that aren't really coming are, well, some of them are like more defensively sound than what I have now, but didn't really make sense in the matchup to me. So, I don't know, U-turn, Bullet Punch, knock off Superpower. Superpower is there to hit the Celesteela if I really need to. Celesteela is a really good switch into this, so I'm kind of just anticipating being able to like U-turn between Zarude and Scizor a lot, and hopefully he never gets an opportunity to set up blocks with Uxie, which I'm not even sure is going to come. So, sort of see, I don't think I'm actually going to get that punished for this strategy because his hazard setting is so poor. Yeah, Bullet Punch is for removal, knockoff if I really need to get rid of items, and this is also another way to deal with the Aromatisse if it gets out of hand. I don't think it will, but if it's like a Calm Mind Aromatisse or a Nasty Plot, Trick Room Aromatisse or something like that, at least I have something in the back for it, right? It's one of the mons that did not get Mystical Fire, if I recall correctly. Along the lines of Florges. I'm not even sure it's in the game. I'd have to double check that, but I'm running a tiny bit of speed on Scizor for no speed Celesteela and no speed Alomomola. So if it is defensive Celesteela, I'll outspeed it. If it's not, then I'm screwed anyways. Because if it's offensive, it's just going to automize on Scizor's face in the first place, and I basically just lose the game at that point. So that is what I'm bringing. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Nidoqueen had a matchup, didn't want to bring it. I think I automatically have to be Shuka for the Zygarde. As soon as there's a ground type that's faster than a Nido, you pretty much most of the time have to be Shuka for it, unless you have a better switch in, which in this case would be Zarude. And I toyed around with a defensive Zarude, but opted to use just the HO strat when I realized that I couldn't defensively check stuff. Beedrill is a gigantic issue, and I'm essentially just going to have to be sacking things off, unless I can gain momentum early on into the game. So that's my strategy for this one, is gaining momentum early, hopefully getting the lead matchup right. A lot of my game plan relies on me getting the lead matchup right in this one, and getting the momentum early in order to deal with this team. I've got a lot of pivoting with these four Pokemon. Alolan Persian definitely seems solid on paper. Can kind of handle Darkrai. It forces it to at least run Focus Blast for it in most scenarios, but Ice Beam would also probably be fine to hit Alolan Persian, because Alolan Persian doesn't really do anything back. Beedrill punishes Alolan Persian. There's a lot that punishes Alolan Persian. Kecleon, same sort of deal. It can kind of handle Darkrai. It loses to the physical offense, though. Abomasnow, I had and dropped on the ideas here, and Luxray I didn't really consider because there's a Zygarde. But Luxray is actually not terrible. Luxray has a decent, okay matchup here. I wouldn't be surprised if he thought that I might be bringing Luxray. It's definitely a solid like 7th or 8th option in this one. So that's the team. Let me know what you guys think. I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the drops that I was talking about ahead of week 7. So stay tuned for that in my week 7 team builder. But for now, hopefully we can pick up a win against PokeFan and the Detroit Oblivion Wings. He is undefeated. So this is a bit of a yikes. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't like lost to PokeFan all that much in my career. I think I've only lost him once and beat him like 4 times or something like that. But the matchup is really not favorable, and he's on a bit of a hot streak now. So I would not expect to win. That's going to be for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys for the match.